Welcome to the British Football Comic Podcast, the number one football comic podcast. The podcast where you hear all about those football comic strips, and football characters from yesteryear. From Jimmy Grant to Jeff Giles, from Billy Dane to Bobby Booth, from Jose Killer to Jorge Porbilas, and maybe even Roy Race a few times too. If you're new to the show, then welcome. Come, join us, listen, watch, comment, wallow in football comic nostalgia with like-minded souls. If you're not new, then keep taking the medication. But thanks for hanging on in there. We do appreciate it. My name is Matt Mute Button Richards. I'm your host for this show. I'm joined here by my two co-presenters. First of all, let's introduce you to, well, this is the ultimate Roy the Rovers comic reviewer and author. Yeah, let me introduce you to the Welsh time traveller himself, Golden Boy Ian Golden. Hi, Ian.
Yeah, Shamai boys. Well, how there? How's everyone?
Warm. But yeah, very well, thank you. Very well.
I managed a bit of English there, a bit of stuttering when the English came out, but no, it's good to be back. And yes, it is warm. It's not as warm as it was earlier this week, but yeah, hopefully it'll be a good podcast. We won't be sweating too much during it.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't need a sweaty studio, do we?
No.
Okay, right. Well, it's time to introduce the my next co-presenter. And if you can see him on the screen on YouTube, you can see he's actually he seems to be on holiday in the Congo. Something I don't know if you're doing a bit of scouting for England. Um, he's the controversial bad boy of the podcast. Yeah, still harbouring a long-standing and strange resentment of Roy Race, not picking him again after he appeared for Melchester Rovers in a totally made-up, pretend non-canon story. So much so that he's now spreading scurrilous rumours that Blackie and Penny have formed their very own midfield pairing in the race bedroom. Yes, it's bygone Brinsden, Surtee, Judith Chalmers Berrigan. Welcome in, Neil.
Thank you very much for that nice introduction. I don't think I'm a bad guy. I think I just tell the truth.
Oh, so truth to power. Okay, all right.
The truth.
Someone's got to tell the truth, haven't they? If you can't handle the truth, then
Get out
you
of the
can't.
kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah, so sorry, but I'm looking forward to
That,
tonight's
that was
show
a
as well.
that was a Bucks Fizz song, wasn't
it was.
Get
If
out
you
of the
can't,
kitchen.
if you can't stand the heat, get out of the
it? Yeah,
kitchen. There you
that's
go.
right.
There you go. People with the bingo card. If you're trying to pick up the Bucks Fizz references, it's
As
been.
we go now into the land of make believe.
Oh, very good, very good, very good. Well, it's been talking of heat and kitchens. Yeah, it has been a warm week here inside Champ Towers. It's probably too hot to do a workout to your favorite Tone It with Tangent VHS video cassette. Speaking of which, where is the tangential one? Well, if you listen to the end of the last show, if you remember, you went into a furious Infantino rant. And ever since then, there have been no sightings or indeed hearings or high-pitched commentaries from him since. We are concerned. Has he been kidnapped? Is he buried beneath a fan zone in downtown Boston? We don't know. But what we do know is since that's happened, the bottom has fallen out of the second-hand comic book market due to his lack of activity. The average price of a victim has reduced from $10 a barrel to 50 cents, which shows how much of a dealer of his size can skew the market. And no, we're not talking David Skew. I do apologise for that. So, Tangent, we hope you're safe somewhere. And Infantino, if you do have him tied up somewhere, we recommend you get some earplugs.
Yeah, I heard he went to the World Cup and he refused to tip at a restaurant and he's still locked in there.
So, anyway, no Tangent tonight. And yeah, no goal. But goal, I hope you're doing well, mate. Hopefully, they'll both be back soon. So, it's on with the show. So, let's go through the running order. First of all, I'm going to kick off with Melvin's musings, as per tradition. Then it's Bygone Berrigan, you're up next. What are you doing for us tonight, mate?
I'm going to do the goals of Jimmy Grant from the Victor for Boys annual of 1990. So I'm going to cover that, and it features Jimmy playing for England, so it's quite relevant in the minute because we're currently in the early stages of a World Cup. Hooray!
Yeah, we're still in the World Cup at the moment as well. So let's gloat as long as
England are still
we
in.
possibly
If
can. Yeah.
we say we mean England.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
We do appreciate there is some other countries out there.
There definitely are
Oh,
other countries out there. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
England fans appreciating their other countries.
Hey, hey, we're not as arrogant. Don't believe the press. Um, Brilliant. Okay, looking forward. Yeah, it's another World Cup special
yeah.
this evening. So all the sections are World Cup related.
Yeah.
So yeah, brilliant stuff. Looking forward to that. Bygone and Time Traveler. What are you doing for us? Because you're up next after that.
I am, yeah, and it's quite a special one for me. I'm going to be looking back at the Roy of the Rovers 1982 holiday special. And it's a World Cup one, of course, being it 1982, Ron's 22, all that. That's the one, that's the cover. And that was the first issue I ever bought.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm going to look back and I'm going to try and remember when I was reading it first time and, think about my reflections then as well as reflections now. So because the characters, everything I was introduced to for the first time. So we'll just see what I thought.
Excellent. Looking forward to that one. Looking forward to that one. And then finally, I'm going to finish off with an unusual story. Really, we're going back in time to a year called 1966. Sorry, Ian. We don't harbour on about 1966 all the time.
It's all right.
Um, but this is really interesting because this is a story which appeared in the Hotspur in
Oh
1966.
yeah.
So DC Thompson comic, and this is a story which did actually include the World Cup in it. So yeah, I'll be covering that. It's about, and it's about a referee as well, which is unusual. Referee was the main protagonist. So that's the show. Hope you guys look forward to it. What we're going to do now is I'm going to hand over to myself. Okay, thanks, Matt. Very good, good introduction. Thanks a lot, Matt. Cheers. And I'm going to do Melvin's musings. So first of all, up we have on the Roy the Rovers 40 years after Facebook page. We have a comment from, and this is obviously after the last show, which was World Cup related because Bygone did Mission in Mexico, the very first Football Picture Story monthly. And Ian, you did the Today newspaper book. You did the book,
Hmm.
and also you did some of the PDFs from the later stages of that
Yeah.
story as well, didn't you? Brilliant show, excellent stuff. Here's the feedback from that show. William Atkinson, hi William. He says, I still got my copy of that compilation of the Today newspaper comic strip. Much grittier stories than a regular comic and great artwork. Absolutely, William. I totally agree with that. Steve Herbert said, didn't know about the newspaper strip. I'll look for it. Enjoyed Stark, read the first two strips. And then after that, Steve actually did. He's bought the book. So
Oh, good.
hope you enjoyed the book.
We
Steve,
we need to go on commission here, don't we?
I know. Well,
I
this
know.
is it. This is it. Tangent out of action. This is what this. Now's the time to buy comics because they're a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
we're just driving up the price of these
I
second-hand
think he
comics, aren't we?
bids against himself after.
I think he does. He very does. Stephen Nichols. Hi, Stephen. Lads, love the show. Been listening since the beginning, and it's been a while since I commented, but I look forward to each episode. Oh, so thanks, Stephen, for commenting again. As a listener in Ireland, it is more difficult to find comics, etc. But you guys keep me up to date and relive memories from the past. Thanks. So thanks, Stephen, for sticking with us. This is 135th episode tonight, so it's amazing, really. 5 years, 5 years, unbelievable. So just give ourselves more credit, more praise. It's
Well
a bit
done,
sad,
guys.
isn't it? Yeah. Well done, us. Paul Savage. Paul says, just finished episode 134, which I really enjoyed. Well done, everyone. Great stuff from the multilingual Bygone, who
I like
covered, who
Aaron
co
now.
yeah, who covered the Stark World Cup story from the 40th anniversary edition of the Football Pitch Story Monthly. It featured a fantastic cover by Ian Kennedy, showcasing one of my favourite England shirts. I remember it vividly from when the first issue came out. It was just a shame that in reality, England couldn't overcome some of the dark arts football in '86
Mm.
in the way Stark helped them to do so in the comic. I love the Time Travelers section on the Today newspaper strips. I owned the first collection back in '87, but it's long since disappeared.
Oh,
I'll definitely be searching around to find another copy. There you go. If anybody's trying to get hold of it today, then there's two people who've bought it in the last couple of weeks. Um, It's a shame they never released a second volume, but well done
mhm.
to the Time Lord for having scans and some of the later strips to help make up for it. I really enjoyed those. Yeah,
Oh,
that
thanks.
was really special. Well done, Ian.
Glad.
I encouraged my dad to buy the newspaper when I knew Roy was appearing, and I enjoyed the more mature approach they took at the time. The strips from the Star passed me by, which was a pity, especially given that Yvonne Hutton was the artist. I greatly enjoyed Yvonne's version of Roy and Tiger each week, alongside David Skew's definitive take in Roy the Rovers. Just briefly going back to episode 133 in the Time Travelers 86 to 87 season coverage, I was intrigued by David Skew moving from drawing Roy to Story of a Star. It was a big moment for long-time readers. Does anyone know the reasons behind the change? Now, I think you covered this, Ian, didn't you, in your book to come? But go on, you go on, cover. Go on.
Yeah. It's
No spoilers.
Don't
no,
spoil us.
no.
Yeah, get them to buy the book. Just say buy the book.
Yeah,
Buy the book.
I think you'll have to buy the book unless I want to
Hey.
give it away too much. No, I think it will be my new book, which
Yeah.
will come out hopefully fairly soon. That's what I'm saying with that one.
Okay. Well, we're all looking forward to that. All looking forward to that. Okay, excellent. Terry Angus, friend of the show. Hi, Terry. Well, everyone's a friend of the show. All the other
Yeah.
guys are friends of the show as well. Sorry. Great listen. I would have just read Stark in Mexico just before the pod was out. Aside from the episode, is there any episodes that Barry talks about Scorer? And I went back to say because sadly we did plan to do a Scorer episode at one time, but we never got around to it. But if anybody's interested in Scorer, when he first came on the show in episode 6, he did cover Scorer quite a bit. So if anybody wants to go back to listen to that one, if they haven't done already, then please do, because he covers it a lot there. And then finally, we have Trevor Melvin, and here's his headline: Real world football takes a hell of a beating as bygone Tickletum Berrigan delivers John Stark's crowning glory in World Cup special. Yeah, remember Tickletum? Yeah. Sometimes you've got to think about what you say before you say it, because it comes back to bite you in the
I'm not valid.
tum.
I like the word.
I know, Tickletum. Yeah. How's your tum at the moment? Is it tickling or is it
No, it's just gurgling a little bit.
gurgling? Okay.
Have you
Right.
not got enough biscuits tonight?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
yeah.
I'm cutting them out.
You cut them
Oh,
out? Oh, wow.
Yeah, cut
Okay,
'em
there
out.
you go. There's an exclusive to this week's show. That'll be the headline next time. Trevor carries on. While friend of the show, Adrian Lord, everybody in the House of Lord, everybody in the House of Lord, one house, one Lord, everybody in the House of Lord has finally managed to get himself back on side and solve his podcast fixture congestion crisis. Bygone Berrigan's action replay section, which featured edition #1 of Football Picture Story Monthly, provided the first tickle tum of this World Cup special. Trevor's having tickle tum moments now. The pod's well-travelled holiday specialist spoke in fluent Arvenal as he took us to a bygone era to relive John Stark's thrilling World Cup mission in Mexico. During the 1986 football comic Copa Mundial, Bygone Berrigan reveals how Jose Killer, Arvenal's chopper-in-chief, pulls a muscle, and just why an emotional Ted Ferris decided to pull off Fred Tanker during a semi-final between England and Varslavia. Ooh, I say. There'll be quite a few ooh, I says coming up, by the way. It's understood that after Bygone's multilingual masterclass, the tangential one, who has plans to go global with his We Are United commentary workout program, aka Tone It with Tangent, and become an Arvenalian, a legal Arvenalian, will be taking 70s sitcom Mind Your Language style linguistic lessons from Judith Chalmers of the pod. Ooh la la! Golden Ian then exclusively brought us edited highlights from a sizzling Soaraway Roy the Rovers strip that originally appeared in the Today newspaper. What a scoop this was, musers. During the late 80s, 3 days a week, you could read all about races scoring both on and off the field. Ooh, I say.
What I say.
Ooh, I say, absolutely. It's like you know where it's going to come, don't you?
Oh
Guess
yeah,
what they are.
yeah.
Yeah. The Welsh time travelling news hound went all the way
Oh, I say.
with his World Cup special revelations, revealing how Roy and the Rovers produced a brand of sexy football whenever they played away from home.
Oh, I
I
say.
say, oh, this is just like being at Panto again, isn't
Make
it?
it a drinking
It's
game
behind
now.
it. Yeah,
Episode of
yeah.
Olololo.
The Vuvuzela free World Cup special continued at a pace, with mute button Matt reaching what can only be described as the knockout stage of the pod when he proudly held aloft a new publication from DC Thompson, 40 Years of Football Picture Story Monthly, Volume 1, The Best of Stark. Yes, musers, after 23 years of hurt, there's no more need for dreaming. Finally, we have some new-ish Football Picture Story Monthly content. Perhaps we have the hand of pod or the pod's name drop corner pressure group to thank for this World Cup winner? Don't know. Maybe we are. Maybe we are influencers. No, we're over 50. How can we be influencers? Don't be so stupid. Um, Either way, it'll glean like the Jules Rimet trophy and make a priceless or 1641 on Amazon addition to any football comic book fans trophy cabinet. The tangential one, who did a Cosmo Kent jig of joy, certainly got himself in a pickle over the Ruby anniversary issue, and the Rummager gave it a tickle tum seal of approval. The Rummager. Users will also be pleased to know that the best of stock doesn't appear on the Football Comics Anonymous list of banned substances. Indeed, Mute Button Matt hasn't had to conceal his copy under his jumper at all and was permitted by Mrs. Mute Button Matt to stage an open-top victory parade with the commemorative book around the living room. Ooh, I say. In other news, friend of John Stark, Bygone Berrigan, revealed that he was on a couple of £100 a week and a jive bar goal bonus while playing for Melchester Rovers. The football comic book mercenary, who is set to be played by self-confessed Melchester Rovers fan Russell Stone. Do you remember Russell Stone from the Blackie Grey story a couple of times ago? So he's pretty good at bringing these characters back in. In a new movie entitled Bedpan, which dramatises the infamous row between Roy Race and Bygone Berrigan, controversially claims that Racy refused to feed him the ball in order to starve him of his jive bar bonus.
Mm. So will Elton Blake be brought back to play Roy Race?
Oh,
That's what I ask.
it's quite convoluted, this,
We're not
isn't it,
having any
really?
suggestions of who's going to be playing me.
Well, Tom Cruise.
Well,
Well, actually, it's down here. It's down here, actually, further down. Have you seen this?
all right.
Podfather, can you hear me? Your boys gave real world football a hell of a beating. World class lads. I'm off for a hydration break. Arrivederci. Uella sandwich. Give us a sandwich. Have a sandwich. Um, yeah, brilliant stuff, Trevor. That's superb. Thank you very much. Oh, late news just in. This never happens, is it? Oh, sorry. Rumors are circulating that the Podfather and Dot have been victims of a copycat kidnapping. It seems their kidnappers employed the same methods which were described by Mute Button Matt during episode 128 to abduct Roy Race and Blackie Grey in Spain during the summer of 1974. It's believed that the Podfather and Dot, who were forced to wear enormous donkey heads in order to smuggle them out of Torquay, are now travelling back to the English Riviera by mule. A mule can comfortably travel 5 miles in roughly 1 hour 30 minutes when moving at a steady, sustained working pace of about 3.5 to 4 miles per hour, which should ensure that the dynamic Devonian duo are back in time for the next fixture at Champ Towers.
Ah.
Brilliant stuff, Trevor. That's brilliant. Well, as I said earlier, I hope you keep taking the medication. It's it's great. Right. Okay. Now moving on to the Champ We Are United, the Football Picture Story Monthly Facebook group. We have more feedback, this time from Adrian Lord. Should we give him a theme tune? Should we give Adrian Lord a theme tune? Everybody in the house, Lord.
Lord,
Everybody,
everybody, House
everybody in the house, Lord.
Lord,
One
one
house,
house,
one
one
Lord.
Lord. Everybody in
Everybody in the
House
house,
of
Lord.
Lord.
But it sounded like school when you used to sing games.
We use it because I murmur.
Good evening, Mr. Richard.
That's about finally some respect. It's about time, Ian. Well done. It's great, straight to the top of the class. Right. Anyway, Adrian says Ian's knowledge of cricket and geography is fab. He's now my phone a friend if I'm ever on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Blimey, Neil, your accents have reached a new level. It's a cross between Allo Allo and Duty Free. When they are casting the next Bond villain, Neil should definitely apply. I won't be asking Neil on Phone a Friend after the Americana debacle, though. Yeah, the famous Mexican stadium. Another great podcast, guys. Well done. Thanks a lot, Adrian. And sorry, whilst we're on this, Michael, did you want to just give a quick shout out
Yeah, I
to
just want
Adrian?
to say thank. I have emailed him, but just to say thanks very much to Adrian. He heard me mentioning a few of the podcasts that I was after. Issue number 85 of the Champ comic, and he went to a commando swap meet in Stoke a couple of weeks ago. And he actually saw an issue there, and he actually purchased it and sent it on to me. So I would just like to say thank you very much, Adrian. Really appreciate that, and it's lovely the community we have that somebody's done that for me.
No, yeah, totally brilliant. And
I've
Adrian,
now,
expect to get an email from all of us in the next couple of days on what
yeah,
we want you to get for us. Um,
but yeah, I've now completed my champ collection, which I'm really pleased
Oh,
about.
nice.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, superb stuff. Great stuff. House of Lord. And fine. Oh yeah, a couple more comments here from YouTube. So we have Aussie Lee, our friend down under. Feedback from the land down under. Lee Coulson, he says that was a real cracker of a World Cup special, chaps. Perfect accompaniment to the tournament happening across the Americas at the moment. It was all new content to me as well, even if it did get a bit little racy at times. Ooh, I say. Ooh, I say. Sorry, I'm missing that. Everyone's doing ooh, I says.
Everything can be
Um,
an innuendo.
yeah. If the Today newspaper strip was tame compared to what came after, then what was shown in the Daily Star stories? Exactly, yeah, I know. Rory Race After Dark, Penny on page 3. Oh,
Oh, I say.
thank goodness, thank goodness you're a PG podcast and kept everything clean and above board as usual. Even if Tangent had me worried for a moment at the start when he was reaching for what was it, when he was reaching to pull out something from under the desk. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing being pulled at all on the screen, I can say tonight. Well, I hope not anyway. I'm glad it was a golden World Cup trophy only. Speaking of which, the Stark strip set in Mexico was brilliant. The first World Cup I watched in full, and I'd completely forgotten about England winning those with those goals from Stark. Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't win in the World Cup, the real World Cup. So much better than the real thing. Though who in Australia had the money to hire him is a mystery to me. Football here at that time was barely semi-professional, but never let reality get in the way of a good story. Hope you can continue the World Cup theme for next instalment, and the Podfather is back before long. The show isn't the same without him. Yep, here, Lee. Although Ian's impersonations are an excellent substitute.
Oh,
Yep,
thanks very
and
much.
and I
Not
totally,
that
and I,
it'd be great to have Goal back to do them himself, but
yeah,
I'm happy to fill in when needed.
what a great understudy, absolutely.
At that time, by the way, that was the time that Ferenc Puskas was coaching in Australia, I think, around 1986.
Oh wow,
So maybe yeah, I think South Melbourne Hallis, he coached at the time.
wow, that's brilliant, that's brilliant. Um, yeah, he says that your impersonation is an excellent substitute, especially your Welsh Cockney Aussie voice, quoting our arcane gambling ad laws. And he says, listen to this, Bygone, and Jason Statham to play Bygone in his biopic, maybe.
I'll
I
take that.
mean, you're all right with that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
look at
I'm
his
all right with
face,
that
look at his
one. Same
yeah, yeah.
hairstyle.
That's about it, isn't it? That's the only
Yeah,
that's
same number of fingers.
oh, he says suitably cool and gangsterish guy.
Wow,
There you go, I know.
like he knows me.
Yeah. But it's like you're on a film set at the moment. It's like a film set to Doctor
Um,
No behind you.
it's just
Um,
Blackpool.
oh, Blackbridge changed since the last time I went. Um, Brilliant. Thank you very much, Lee. And finally, Nikos, he says, and this is interesting because Nikos is with his knowledge of the artist is superb. He says concerning the Stark story, it looks like Spanish illustrator Federico Madigan's artwork.
Ah, yeah, because we didn't know, did we, who it was?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you very much, Nikos. Much appreciated. Great stuff. Okay, that's it. That's the feedback. Thank you very much for the feedback. It's always appreciated. We love the fact that other people enjoy what we do. Right, on with the running order. So first up is obviously Mr. Bygone Berrigan. Let's just find it and get it ready for you.
So I'm going to be covering the goals of Jimmy Grant, as we've already said, from the Victor 1990 annual. Um, and it is again another lovely piece of work, and it's actually like in colour, two tones. It's the red and the white, which I always looks fantastic. The red wash on the page, it's like the old football picture story monthlies. If anybody doesn't own a copy, they're not really expensive on the second-hand site, so you might see them on car boot sales. On this one, it's got a lovely overhead kit to start with, and it's not Jimmy Grant on the cover, it's somebody called Super Sammy. Um,
Ah, yeah, Super
in
Sonic
the
Concerts.
story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it is same picture on both sides of the annual. But yeah, it's a great overhead kick drawer in there. I think that's Ian Kennedy.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Good, great artwork. So yeah, so as we move on to the goals of Jimmy Grant, and the reason I picked this story out of vast other stories in annuals and summer specials is the fact that it is an international story. It's not a World Cup; it's a mini tournament that must take place at the end of the season with England, and it features Spain, France, England, and South American aces Umaguay with
Ah,
Umaguay. I think there's a reason why they've not used a real team here. I don't know if you guys can guess what it could be. I haven't already read it.
Hmm.
It looks like I'm going to have to start developing a Umaguayan accent for.
Yeah. Would it
I'm
be
sure you have.
a
And
dodgy accent with someone with thin moustaches and that kind of thing?
yeah, and I think moustaches, jet black hair. But to be
Yeah.
honest, I think Umaguayans are similar to Italian accents and different things like that. A bit of a lower lower. So
Yeah.
Okay, you just like priming us for what's
Right,
about to happen.
right next to Arvenel on the map, I
yeah,
think.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That way
Borderer. Yeah,
they play at the Maracana. So anyway, this is a
everyone does.
tournament. This tournament takes place in Spain, and Spain are the hosts, and they're playing with England in the opening game of the tournament. And the story starts with Jimmy Grant leading an attack and forces a save from the Spanish keeper. Now, it looks like England are playing in the red away kit,
Mm.
and Spain, obviously they were at home. You'd expect them to be in red, but at the time I've had a look, and they did have a dark blue away kit. So it must. I think it shows as black here, but I'm taking it's blue kit. But yeah, so Jimmy Grant's gone through and he's hit a shot, and it's just the goalkeeper saved it, and then Spain go up the other end, and then they strike first and scores, and their star striker Fendo scores the first goal. And Jimmy Grant's teammate Vince Lawler leads an England attack, and did they clear the ball out? And gives it to Jimmy Grant on the wing, and Jimmy Grant, the England danger man, cuts inside and looks like he's going to shoot, and he scores. He makes it 1-1 straight past the goalkeeper, and England are back in the game. But Spain hit back almost immediately, and Fendo, their superstar, must play for Barcelona or their equivalent Barcel, maybe. Oh, something like that. He's running through again with the ball. He's beat the defence, but the England goalkeeper, we find out it's Charlie Ironbar. He makes a fantastic save there and forces the ball away for a corner. But the corner gets cleared, and England do lead another counter attack. And as they're running up with the ball gets hoofed up the pitch. Vince Lawler heads it down straight to Jimmy Grant, and Jimmy Grant scores again and gets his second of the game. And that's how the score finishes 2-1. So England have beat the hosts on the first game of the tournament. And England manager Brian Corby is delighted with that. And he says to the team, a gun win, lads. You look sharp, and we've got 2 points in the bag. And his teammates say, Jimmy's the one who's sharp, boss. Two great goals. So I think we all know at the time England were just led by Jimmy Grant. He was the main scorer of the time.
Mm. Yeah.
The next day, it looks like Jimmy and Vince are sat on the beach, and they're watching some lads playing football, and they recognise them as the Umaguayan lads having a little kickabout. And one of the captain comes over. Well, I'm surmising he's the captain. He's leading the training on the pitch, and he said, "You're England players. Come and show us how it's done." I don't know why he's got a really posh accent, but it's because
Was
he's
he
trying to
was
speak
he
English.
raised in Germany?
It's based. It's that South American, like when Argentina got invaded by a lot of people
Yeah,
about that.
Nazis. The Nazis after the war. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
I think
true. Yeah,
that some went to Uruguayan as well.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
I
yes,
remember
I've
it.
read about that. I remember reading about that. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Carry on.
yeah, and hence the moustaches probably as well, and the singlets. So it says anyway, they say to him, "You're England players. Why don't you come and show us how it's done?" So as you do during a major tournament, you decide
Yeah.
to have a game of beach football with your rivals. And Jimmy Grant's trying to take the ball past them, but they realise is that they're not holding back, and there's some hard challenges going in on the sand. And then the captain again knocks them off the ball. Runs in, knocks him off the bar, and says, "Got him! The great Jimmy Grant is stopped." And Jimmy falls into the sea there after a rough challenge. But he said, they say his mate Vince says to him, "This is enough. You could break a leg here." And Jimmy Grant says, "I think they're trying to show me how tough they are." And then the Uruguayans are teasing them as they're walking off and saying, "So you can't take it, eh? A bit too rough for you?" And Jimmy Grant says, "Too right. We want to be all in one piece when we play your match against you." And I think that just sets it up now that these Uruguayans
Ah, it's good. A
are the
bit of
bad
needle.
guys, and
Bit
there's
of
a bit of
needle
a
already.
needle in the
Yeah,
match, yeah. So anyway, next day it's England versus Uruguay and a shock start for the English team. And this really upsets me because you start to see Charlie Ironbar is not that flawless keeper that you thought he was. He gives a really bad pass out from the back to Sammy the defender, and he's not ready for it, Sammy. He
Oh
said,
God, no.
no. Anyway, he couldn't control the ball, a bit like Scotland this at the against
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the second. The defender gets caught short, and the Uruguayan centre forward's on it straight away, quick as a flash. And it's an easy goal for the Uruguayans, and it's 1-0 straight away. And Charlie Ironbar was nowhere near that. But anyway, as they do, England fought back straight away, and Vince backheels a lovely little ball, and who's there to knock it in? It's Jimmy Grant, the goal machine, 1-1 straight away. But this just infuriates Uruguay, and they start turning on the style. And what I like about this is they're not just sly and crafty. They actually can play really good
Yeah,
football.
they're not being dirty, are they?
No, they're not being dirty. They're just playing good football here. So anyway, the striker again, he's doing the midfielder, I think he is. He don't actually give a name, but he's actually running through with a ball. We'll call him
Do you want to call him
Desiree. Desiree, I'll call him.
Desiree? Desiree. Okay.
Desiree is running through with the ball, and the fans are saying, it looks like there's going to be another goal here. There's no stopping him. And straight away, he goes through, smashes the ball into the top corner, and Charlie Ironbar has been beaten again, really. Two easy goals that he's probably conceded there. You don't usually see that. In the second half, and Jimmy's trying to lead a fight back again. Everyone's chanting for him to score. But he's like pushed out to the side, but he's got an idea of where he knows Vince will be, and he does a lovely overhead kick, and Vince is just ready to run in, and he just taps it into the net, and that's it, 2-2, and the game finishes 2-2. And Vince just says to Jimmy, "That's three you've scored in this tournament. You could get the tournament's Golden Boot award for the most goals." And Jimmy, as always, he just says, "You've also scored one. You're not that far behind." But England's next game was against France, and the manager says this is the one you've got to win. 2 points today will make sure we're in the final. So let's go out and do it. And Vince just says we will. France haven't won one yet. So anyway, England start as they do quite strong. They've hit the post early on, and France are holding out. But late in the second half, Jimmy Grant wins the ball and hits a right curling into the top corner. And as it's going in, you think,
Oh wow.
3 minutes there, it's a goal, it's a goal. But unfortunately, the French left back Deluxe runs in and handballs it on the line and knocks it over. So obviously, it's a penalty. It's probably been sent off as well for that 3-match ban.
Should be.
And Jimmy runs up, takes the penalty, and smashes it in, no mistake. And that's it, 1-0 win for England. So Jimmy's goal gives them the victory, and the boss says that win puts us in the final, lads. We'll play the winner of the Spain versus Uruguay match, and I want you to all be there watching. So at the next day, it's a Spain versus Uruguay, and all the team are there in the suits, ready to watch the game. And Vince says that Spanish bloke Fendo got a hat trick against France. That puts him level with you on 4 goals. And Jimmy says if he gets a few more today, I'd say the Golden Boot award is his. Anyway, the game starts and Fendo again, he's dictating play and he's running off towards the goal, but he gets stopped brutally by one of the Uruguayan
Is it
defenders.
Desiree?
Well,
Desiree again?
Desiree again, I think it is.
Desiree. Yeah.
Yeah, Desiree. He's there, he hacks him down. Oh no, Desiree, what you doing? Don't play like that. You play really nice football normally. But again, the free kick comes in and the ball's cleared away. And Spain just keep putting on the pressure. But Uruguay using really dirty tactics. They're
Oh,
fouling every chance they get, but it's always on the referee's blind side. And the play doesn't get stopped and they don't get done for fouling. And this starts to wear France down. Spain. This starts to wear Spain down. And early in the second half, Uruguay take the lead with a lovely cross ball and a header.
mm,
And as
very
the
hurt.
game carries on, Spain, I don't know, I keep saying France. Spain are trying to come back into it, but they are using all them tactics again, blocking players off. And I don't think the referee's got the guts to give a free kick here. Which you think with Spain playing at home, they would have got some of the decisions.
Mm, yeah, that's true.
But
It's true.
it shows that dirty tactics and winning. And then we see right on the edge, just under where Jimmy's sat, a big challenge comes in, and the defender Desiree again smashes into the Spanish winger Fendo's, and he gets crashed into the advertising board. And Jimmy says, "I bet that they've got poor old Fendo's number." And Charlie Ironbar says to him, "If we play Uruguay in the final, I would like to be in your boots, Jimmy. You'll get the same as the Spanish lad." And Jimmy just said, "Thanks there for being so cheerful." At this time in 1990, would they have both been playing for United? I'm not sure. I don't think they
Who,
would.
who now? Lawler or Iron Bar? You're talking about?
Would Jimmy and Jimmy Grant and Charlie Einbar, would they have played
Charlie,
together for United?
not by 1990. Jimmy had left.
Ah, right.
He'd he might be playing alongside Vince Lawler in Italy, but he might have left right there by now. For
Right.
me, Lawler was a lot like a Mark Hateley type character.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I always felt there was a resemblance there. But no, he was gone from United by a couple of years by this time.
Right. Okay. But anyway, so it's just a little bit of banter between them two. Charlie Einbar winding him up. Anyway, the game finishes. It's all over, and England beat Hugh Maguire in the final, and Fender only got the 4 goals. So that night, they're all talking amongst each other, and it looks like the press are just cornered Jimmy in a corner while he's trying to read a newspaper. And they start asking him some questions, and one of the pressmen say, "Everyone's saying the Hugh Maguires will play you out of the game on Saturday, Jimmy, same as they did Fendo." And Jimmy just says, "They'll try. Maybe I'll let him. If I can make a few runs and take 2 defenders with me, that's going to leave a lot of room for Vince, and Vince can score goals too, you know." But that's off the record. Just tell them I'm going all out to score and win the Golden Boot award. That'll make sure they close me down and Vince will get all the chances. So the press who are on Jimmy's side at the moment just say, "You're smart, Jimmy. That's what I'll print." Anyway, it's the final day comes up, and obviously Hugh Maguires and Desiree can read the English newspapers, and they just say to Jimmy, "You're going to try for the Golden Boot. You've got no chance." And he says, "You'll get plenty of Hugh Maguire boot, though." Ha ha ha. Ha ha
Oh, was that
ha.
were those two Uruguayans from the kind of Blackpool
They're
northwest
from the
area?
Blackpool, Manchester. They've been doing a lot
Right.
of
Okay.
business and things like
Okay.
that.
Right. Okay.
Right. So as Jimmy's walking off, Desiree says to his friend, "On the beach, we knock you into the sea, but we do it again today from here." Ha ha ha. And Jimmy is just walking off, ignoring him. It's a lot of pressure, isn't there, on me to start remembering all these
I
accents and
know. I
different
know.
things,
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry. You choose the stories, mate. You know,
I know. Well, yeah.
you're a star. You're a star. Once you reach these heights of fame, you have to keep it up.
As I say, I have trouble doing my own accent, never mind. So anyway, the game kicks off, and obviously England are under pressure straight away. Hugh Maguire's are really taking it to them because obviously they scored 2 past them in the previous match. They're looking to do it again. And again, you see a little bit of weakness with Charlie Ambry. He makes a good save, but it looks like his hand's not strong enough and it's going to creep into the bottom corner. But thankfully, one of his teammates is covering him and knocks it off the line. And Charlie just says, "Cheers for that, mate. Anytime." But he redeems himself on the next shot. Hugh Maguire shoot again. And Charlie Barr jumps up and saves the ball from going in. It looks like fantastic. If you can see it on YouTube,
It's a
the
great
artwork is
save. Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah. Yeah.
fantastic. You got the lovely Spanish stadium in the background and Charlie
Mm.
Barr tipping it over there. At half time, it's 0-0, and the manager says, "You've held them for 45 minutes. They're going to be disappointed they haven't scored. Now go out and run them off their feet. The game's yours for the taking." But Jimmy's complaining, "I've only had a couple of kicks." And Vince just says to him, "Yeah, and they've both been on your ankles." So you Maguire are really keeping him out of the game at the minute. But second half starts, and Jimmy Grant gets the ball, and he realizes that they put 2 blokes on him this time as he's trying to run through. And as he's running through, he gets to the edge of the box, and there's 2 men on him, and they foul him again. On the referee can't see it, and but the referees let it go, and Jimmy Grant's managed to get the pass away, and then charging through the middle, Lawler runs in, smashes it past the keeper. 1-0 England have scored. They broke the deadlock, but this just seems to infuriate the Hugh Maguires. And Desiree does a really bad foul on the back of Jimmy, and it becomes a free kick to England. The referee spotted this one, and there's even now boos from the crowd because obviously the crowd can actually see what's going on. Anyway, Vince takes a free kick and he bends it round the wall and it hits the post. But guess who's running in? It's Jimmy Grant. He was onside. He's knocked it into the net and it's a goal for England. And that's it. 2-0. 2-0 to England. They've managed to win. They've won the post-season trophy. And there's a lovely picture here, and it's England doing a parade around the ground, and it's Charlie Ironbar and Jimmy Grant there with the trophy, and the press are there. Everybody's chanting England, England, England. And Jimmy and Vince are just walking off, and Vince says, "You've won the cup, and you've also got the golden boot as well." So Jimmy says, "It's a nice double eight, a bit of luck getting that second goal, but it's not luck, it's just anticipation and finishing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then at the end, which I think is a really nice touch, the Hugh Maguires had actually formed a guard of honour and they're clapping and they're saying, "Well played, England. You deserve it." So England get a nice little guard of honour from the Hugh Maguires. And Vince says, "Nice of him to clap us off the pitch." And Jimmy says, "Yeah, especially since he spent the last hour and a half trying to kick me." But that's football, innit? And then there's a lovely little picture at the bottom right, and it's Jimmy just sat in the dressing room, taking his boots off. You can see his legs are black and blue, but he's got the trophy and he's got his Golden Boot award and he's got his nice little cup of champagne to celebrate with there. So that's the end of the story, and I think it's a lovely little story that just shows.
Hmm.
I think the Hugh Maguires played it hard and they were a bit snidey sometimes, but they did appreciate the football that England played and to win the tournament.
Yeah.
Nice
It's
stuff.
nice at the end. Yeah, it's a great little story,
Yeah, no,
isn't it?
it's nice
Yeah.
seeing like Vince Law and you're seeing Charlie Ironbar as well in the story
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
And the nice little nods. Charlie is actually wearing socks. If you ever noticed in the football
Yeah.
Tony
That's
Months, he never
right.
wore socks.
Yeah.
No, I
But
know.
Yeah. I
oh,
think that did that ever change in We Are United? Did people forget about that in the end and he started wearing socks? I
I
wonder
know
if it
in
became
I don't
something
obviously I
else.
can't speak for the weekly story, but I know in a few of the football picture story monthlies he didn't have socks on because I always remember
No.
making noticing that. I never knew why. I don't know if there's a backstory behind it.
Yeah. Well, by the way, if we can say this story happened in 1989, he was always in between clubs. He played for about a club a season, Jimmy
Yeah.
Grant, at the time.
Mm.
So he was between Alton Rovers and Royals, I think, at
Yeah.
that time.
Glasgow is that the Scottish team, the Royals?
The Royals, yeah. And
Yeah,
Alton Rovers was down in England somewhere, probably a bit like Leicester Villa, that kind of
yeah.
club.
All right then. So, but yeah, it's not. I mean, he probably with it playing for England, he probably knows everybody anyway, doesn't he? But yeah, it's a great story, and I love the artwork, and I think the colours are fantastic as well. So England just played in the red kit all the way through, so it's got
Yeah,
a bad kit, Umbro kit to play with. Yeah, so this must have been '89, so it's just a
yeah.
warm up before the World Cup. But yeah,
Brilliant
great story.
stuff. Brilliant stuff. Excellent stuff, Bygone. Thank you very much for that. And lovely to add another accent to your
Hugh Maguire.
growing list. Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
there's
yeah,
any Hugh Maguires out there who can validate if I got it spot on, if they could let me know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
appreciate
contact us
feedback.
at the usual address, PO box. Brilliant stuff. Excellent. Okay. Right. Next up on the running order. Wow, this is a bit of a I like this. This is a bit of a kind of nostalgic and poignant one because this is the very first Roy of the Rovers you ever bought. So it's over to the time traveller himself to take us through the 1982 summer special.
Thanks very much. And yeah, as you've just said, it was the first ever Roy of the Rovers that I bought. I had this one. I then had the 83 annual and then on to the weeklies at various points in 1983. So for those who are watching on YouTube, you can see the cover now, and they're kind of giving it away a little bit. The plot line completely, in fact, of the main strip. A dream moment for Roy Race. England win the World Cup.
Yeah, no
And
spoilers.
yeah,
Yeah.
no spoilers. And also inside, by the way, was the first issue of Roy of the Rovers. I will skim through that for people watching on YouTube, but you'll have to twist your heads or turn your phone a little bit, I think, if you want to see it properly. But there we go, because of the way it's structured, which I will show you. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm just trying to go through a page. Right. So onto the first strip. The copy I've got here, I think it misses out things like contents pages and stuff like that. So I'll just go through the main strip drawn by David Skew as it was at the time. Roy is relaxing in his armchair. Penny says, "Come to bed, Roy." It's back to
Ooh,
1986
I
again.
say. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you look tired out. Oh well. Oh sure, love. Give it a couple of minutes. So he's thinking that it would be great to be out at the World Cup, and it's another World Cup that he's missed. Well, it's his own lookout, really. He's critical of the England squad at the time. This is 1982, and so he starts to fall asleep, and he's dreaming that he's playing in the World Cup final, and he's interviewed by the TV. So, what's it like to be playing in your first World Cup final, Roy? It feels great, and I'm delighted to have my old pal Blackie Gray playing in the side with me. Now, I say this is the first Roy of the Rovers story that I probably ever read, so I had no idea who Blackie Gray
Mm.
was.
Mm.
But there we go. Okay, lads, forget that you're playing Argentina, the world champs, the manager says. We don't know who the manager is. He's got his back turned to us, but I presume it is Ron Greenwood, because they did use real life managers in Roy of the Rovers at the time, for England. Just get out there, play football. At the end of 90 minutes, you'll be the champs. So we see now Roy Race playing brilliantly. He scores the first goal, 1-0. It's a brilliant shot. The South Americans get back into the game, and Johnny Dexter beats two
Yeah.
attackers. So there's a long clearance now from Danny Churchill. Race is waiting to collect the ball. It's a golden chance, and he gets there. He makes it 2-0 and then makes it 3-0. By the way, I'm going back a page because I didn't pick up. We do see Terry Marks. I know Kevin Taylor we see there, by the way,
Yeah.
from
Danefield.
Danefield.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
also see Terry Marks, I think, too.
Yeah.
So we got the end of the game now. Roy is lifting the World Cup, and Johnny Dexter says, Roy, you're a genius. You've won the World Cup back for England. I'm going to kiss you. And he's just waking up now. I'm going to kiss you. And that's the wake up call because it's Penny. Kissed by Johnny Dexter. Oh no. He's woken up now. Roy's in his armchair and he's spilt his coffee. Oh, it was all a dream. We didn't win the World Cup after all, but who knows? Maybe one day. We're still waiting, Roy. Okay.
Yeah.
But at least I
We're
didn't
waiting a
get
while.
kissed. At least I didn't get kissed by Johnny Dexter. That always sticks in my memory, that bit, because obviously I didn't know who Johnny
Johnny
Dexter
Dexter.
was.
No, you didn't know the
Yeah,
backstory or anything. That's superb.
until this. So that's the first story that's in there. Second, we go straight on to the second story, which is the hard man. And that is Johnny Dexter, for those who know. We get introduced to him as the captain of First Division Danefield United and known as the Hard Man, and he's on his holidays, of course. He is being pestered on the beach by fans because he really wants to get away from football. He's being asked for help and he's running away because he wants no football. However, he goes into the countryside and he is accosted. Well, he sees a local lady crying, and he said everything's wrong. I'm going to go in the same as bygone now.
Sure.
Everything is wrong, senor. My son, he is very sick. The local hospital, they need a vital piece of equipment to save him, but he's very expensive. We try and organize a football match and invite famous captain of British football team, but he refused to help. You
So
realize
we've got
him
an
now.
Hugh McGrayan has gone to work
I
in
think I
Mallorca.
think so
Okay. Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so. But of course, he realizes that it's him and Johnny, and he's got to help. So he plays in a charity match. He does well. He gets kissed by the lady who he's accosted by, or who he notices is crying. And now he can finally relax. So he sets up his picnic basket. A couple of kids are saying, "Hey, look, it's Johnny Dexter. Do you want to play?" Listen, lads, no hard feelings. Just get lost. All right. I want to stay here and rest. No, I don't think you better stay here. Look behind you. It's a bull. The bull was obviously about to charge. The hard man had to act fast. He kicks the football. He goes down the ball, and they run over the fence to escape. Oh, that's twice I've saved a life with football this holiday, says Johnny. Maybe I shouldn't forget about the game completely, not even in the summer. So there's two nice little tales already in
Yeah.
this
No, it's great.
special. And they
Yeah.
go quite quickly, of course, summer special stories. So if we carry on through the summer special, we have Roy's Quiz League, which is a quiz that appeared in the comic at the time in 1982. And we go through it's going to be a few pages long, I think. We see a few pictures here. One of Oxford United, recognizing their heroes underneath school teachers' outfits. That was when Oxford were good. Do you remember that? In fact, they weren't quite first division yet. They got even better after this.
Mm. It was
They
in
won
Was
the
it in the Milk Cup? Was it in
they won
85?
80, I
85
believe so,
or
85 or
86?
86,
Yeah.
86.
Final
86.
in 84.
Yeah, yeah. And so we have Roy's Quiz League, a bit of World Cup here with Scotland's Ipswich pair, Alan Brazil and John Walk, lining up before their friendly against Spain last February. They look a bit awkward in this photograph, don't they, Alan Brazil and John
Yeah.
Walk?
Yeah.
But there we go.
Two top players. Yeah.
And we even get a picture from Northampton Town, the Cobblers.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's true. And now, for some reason, my So we carry on through and we go to the end, I think, of the quiz now, and we're on to
Regis.
Durrell's
Cyril, what a great
Palace.
striker.
Oh wow.
What's that, Bygone?
Cyril Regis, what a great striker.
Sir Regis, yeah, he was. I absolutely loved him when he playing for West Bromwich Albion. I wasn't an Albion fan, but as you say, a brilliant striker. So we're on to Darrell's Palace, and as I say, first introduction to Darrell's Palace, and I was thinking it was actually a palace because they're talking about in the strip, they're having their clothes washed, and they're talking about we can't dress like princes if we haven't got the money. And I was thinking, princes, palace, is this a
Oh yeah.
concept about royalty? I assume that it wasn't royalty; it was about a non-league side. And the story goes on that Dan Wayne is in a car crash, but he's in a car crash with an old friend, Johnny Turner. Fancy seeing you. What brings you over here? Johnny's
Yeah.
an old,
They
you
seem
know,
quite amicable,
hey, you
don't they?
just
So
banged
Ben
into
Minor
my
says, yeah,
car.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
But hey, what are you doing here? You just crashed my car. Oh well. But anyway, he's an old pal. He's over from the US team, the State Superstars. And Dan and excuse me, Joe, tell his pal that Darrell's Palace are down on their luck. Well, are they really down on their luck, Darrell's Palace? We can't even afford to buy the team a new strip because that's what the story's all about. So anyway, he's the visitor saying that the team need practice before their big matches. I'll bring them down here and play all your side down. You keep all the gate money. So posters appeared in the town, Darrell's Palace versus the State Superstars, which is Saturday at 3 p.m. So the couple of people talking in the town, I wouldn't mind seeing one of these Yankee teams. I've heard of these state superstars. They're red hot. I'll go along. So the boys at Durrell's Palace now, they're putting on their kit. I hope this is the last time we have to wear these, boss. They're all falling to bits. Mine's torn. If we get a big crowd, we get a set of new shirts. So anyway, the match starts. Jess gets the ball, and Palace have scored. You got the Yanks rocking, lads. Just before half time, a fantastic goal from the Americans, a great header, 1-1. And just after half time, a superb goal. These Yanks are good. That puts them in the lead. Darrell's Palace, though, were determined. A cross comes in from Dan Wayne, and a beautiful header from Bobby Cope makes it 2-2. A draw was the final result. So the visitor, the manager, whose name I've forgotten already, walks into the dressing room. Great game, Dan. You won't be in trouble for long with the team you've got there. Bang on, man. Was he meant to be American? Should I have done that in accent? Like that if he says
let's
that.
do it all over again, but with the
Yeah,
accent. No,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
joking. Yeah, yeah. Johnny
Uh,
Turner.
yeah, Johnny Turner. Great game, Dan. You won't be in trouble lying with the team you've got. They're bang on, man. If we can hold these superstars to a draw, there must be some hope. So anyway, the gate money helped to buy new gear, and the woman who washes it now says, "Be a pleasure to wash and look after these, Mr. Wayne. How did you get all the money? By bashing in the wing of my truck," says Joe. We've got enough to fix that too, Joe. They don't have insurance, obviously. That little scrape was the best thing that could have ever happened to us. And
Well,
that's the end of the Durrell's Palace strip. So carry on through the summer special. We've got a printed signed photo of Diego Maradona. They're saying, "Watch out, world! Here comes the magical Maradona. He'll be conjuring up some tricks for Argentina. Now you see him, now you don't."
Yeah.
He didn't. He was almost unnoticed in '82, wasn't he?
He
It
got
wasn't.
injured, didn't he? He got injured
Yeah,
in the Italy game, I think.
he was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very much
He was really
noticed.
targeted, wasn't he? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was. Yeah, very much noticed in '86, though. But
Yeah.
that's another
Okay, let's
story.
not talk about that. Quick,
Yeah.
move on.
Double page spread now of Paul Mariner for Arsenal. That all at sea, that's Arsenal. We expect as Paul Mariner sees a shot sail into the gunner's net. Ipswich Town win 2-1. Just says Town, doesn't say Ipswich. You have to assume it's Ipswich or know it's Ipswich, but there we go. Not the greatest of photos either,
No, it's
because
not because you can't even
yeah,
see.
see, Paul Mariner is.
no, no, it's
Paul
like I
Mar
think Paul
Because
Mariner's on
Eric Gates, that's Eric Gates who he's back. Oh, Paul Mariner's
Paul
just on the
Mariners are on
left,
the
isn't he?
very left of the shot for
Yeah,
those
yeah,
who
yeah.
can see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
there you
you
go.
get a Roy Race talk-in special where he talks about the history of the World Cup and a few team photos from the past. The Brazil team after beating Sweden in 1958 in the World Cup final. You've got a 1938 World Cup final photograph there. You got one of Franz Beckenbauer lifting it up in 1974, Mario Kempes scoring from Argentina against Holland in 78, and some geezer scoring for 19 in 1966 for England against West Germany at
We don't
Wembley.
know. we don't like to talk about that.
No, no.
Yeah, can we move on, please?
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
we don't
move
have to
on.
talk
We'll
about
move
it. Yeah,
on.
yeah.
So now we're being introduced. We're going back 6 years. Sorry, it's the time traveler here is Roy Race. We've got a couple of very nice pictures of Roy in 1982 and Roy 1976 version. He's had a haircut since then, of course. So many of our readers have written to me, says Roy, requesting the first Roy the Rovers, which appeared in September 1976. Unfortunately, stocks ran out some 5 years ago, but for those who missed it, here's your own mini edition of that rare #1 issue. And for those who do want to see this, as I say, you'll need to twist your phones and knowing that the phone will twist the other way as well. So you might have to go to diagonal to see this. But I'll flick through fast-ish for the
It's
reprint.
interesting though that
Oh,
they say there that they had they still had stock of the first one for 5 years. That's interesting.
no, it ran out 5 years ago, so they
Oh,
had it
5 years
for a
ago.
year.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So only had
yeah.
it for a year.
They had it for a
Right.
year.
Okay. Right.
And
Okay.
I do remember seeing this. This was one of about two or three things that actually attracted me to buying this, was having this first edition of the comic. No idea where this mini edition is now. I've got probably two first editions now. I've got one first edition somewhere in the garage and one that I bought recently.
Mm.
But of course, this is all in black and white. Only the front cover is probably, I think there were probably about 6 to 8 pages in color originally, including the Roy the Rover strip. And when looking through this on YouTube, of course, now the pages aren't in order, but that's because you have to cut it out and, put it together yourself. And then it eventually becomes a booklet, of course. And a few things here like Roy's Quiz League, which we just saw, is still going 6 years later. Action Extra, England versus Northern Ireland. You can see that was a double page spread. So that looks quite good on here. Sign, please, International Trio.
That's
I think we're actually back
You're
now
back
to
on the summer
we're back
special.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
back on here now. We're back on to the summer special now. We had Action Extra England versus Northern Ireland. A taste of things to come. World Cup qualifiers England and Northern Ireland do battle at Wembley last February during a home international match. The home internationals only last another 2 years, of course, and I used to enjoy watching the home internationals.
Yeah. I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there were a few logistical reasons why they couldn't carry on. Northern Ireland won the last ever one, of course. There's a sign, please, here in this 1982 summer special with a holiday special with Trevor Booking, Gordon Strachan, and I can't see that. So covering that, is it Sammy McElroy? Yeah, Sammy
Yeah.
McElroy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now we have a feature here on the African Cup of Nations, which probably wouldn't have been as well known. In fact, it definitely wouldn't have been as well
No,
known
it's really
in
interesting. I was flicking through one of this just a week or so ago, and
yeah.
yeah, I was surprised to see this feature there. It's
mm,
interesting, isn't it? Yeah, back in
Mm.
1980, well, 81 they would have put 80, no, 82, sorry, 82 they
82,
would
it
have
might have
put
been,
early
might have been the
82.
start.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I might have mentioned this before, but I was actually in Johannesburg the day that the 1995 Cup of AFCON actually opened. Didn't know at the time it was on. I might have tried to get a ticket. I'd arrived there for cricket, but I did end up getting one of the official T-shirts of the tournament. Again, no idea where it is now, but there we go. We have some photos here from the Cup of Nations, and we now have some photos from the USA. So we're getting a bit kind of a bit relating now to the events of this year, where of course we're
mm,
focusing on North America, and we're
yeah,
talking about the NASL, the North American Soccer League. You
mm.
might remember this. I remember this very
I
well.
remember it very well. Yeah,
Yeah, All Stars versus Cosmos. I can't remember who All Stars are, but New York Cosmos were New York.
yeah,
Um, and we're looking at all of the on-screen electronics, the electronic scoreboards they used to have in the USA at the time, which were, of course, way ahead of our time. We could only dream of stuff like that. This in England and Wales that time, and we have a photo here where it says Rowdies 1, Cosmos 3. Tonight's attendance 74,901. So in 1982, soccer was massive in the United States. But of course, it then died for quite some time until probably for about another 12 years until the 1994 World Cup came on, and it got revitalized after that. So quite amazing how it just died to
it
death.
was. It was incredible, wasn't it? With Pele, Beckenbauer, all those
Yeah,
players
that's
that are
right.
over there. It was an
George
exciting
Best.
time watching from there, this side of the Atlantic. and seeing what's going on over there.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, is as a young boy growing up, it was really exciting. It's like Cosmos, I loved New York Cosmos, just their
Oh yeah,
shirts and
yeah.
the razzmatazz. Yeah,
And the one side that's still going now, albeit they did have a rest for a few years, is Vancouver Whitecaps.
right.
But
Ah, okay. The original
that
ones.
name is
That's
still going.
interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they did go bust, and then they reformed and used exactly the same name. But it's great that they did use the same name.
Mm, mm.
So on to the next trick now. It's Mighty Mouse. And Mouse is going into one of his mates in the kitchen. Percy, my lad, you're a St. Victor's player. I want you. Well, I don't want you, he said. What I want is a holiday. I'm fed up of slaving away every day. My hands are stuck in washing up water. I hate washing up. I just want to see you, says Mouse. I've arranged a holiday for the team in a posh hotel. I don't go where we go, as long as it's miles away from a washing up sink. So anyway, Mouse is taking the St. Victor's team to the hotel in some dilapidated old car. All we have to do is beat the hotel five-a-side beach football team. That's why you can take them all in the car. It's just five people that he needs. So they're staying at the Ritz Hotel. And they have to play against the Ritz team and they're training on the beach. A crab has bitten one of their feet, and Mouse is realizing that they're a hopeless team. I thought they'd known that already, being there for a few years.
Yeah.
So he plans then to they're planning now to play against this Ritz side, and Percy is going to play in goal. He's a bit worried 'cause he's never played in goal before. I'll let loads in, he says. No, you won't, Percy. You'll save everything. I reckon you'll become the greatest goalie the world's ever seen. The waiter arrives, or the hotel owner. So you have a new goalkeeper to play against my hotel team. It will make no difference. You'll still lose. We'll soon see, pal. Old Percy here's my best player. He'll play a blinder. There's a big crowd here for the Ritz against St. Victor's. And Percy has a great save. First, he dives the right way to save a goal. But the Ritz Hotel, they're playing extremely well. They're going past all these rubbish St. Victor's players. And Percy's making stop after stop after
Yeah.
stop. And
Wow.
in the end, Mouse scores the winning goal. Um, St. Victor's won 1-0. Uh, the hotel manager says, Kevin, how do you know Percy makes such a great goalie? I told him you have to work in the hotel kitchens washing up for a week if we lost. I hate washing up. He said I wanted a holiday. So anyway, the St. Victor's players, they can now relax and they get all waited on. And one of the St. Victor's players said, I did a nice looking girl as well. So there we
Yeah.
go. And that's the end of the Mighty Mouse strip. So we go a
Brilliant.
bit more into the summer special, and we go behind the scenes of Ipswich Town, who of course were UEFA Cup winners the year before.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and we see them at a nice hotel with Bobby Robson and Alan Brazil, and they're not the best of photos. They don't look that glamorous. They all look a bit bored in a way, don't they? Some of these
It's
players.
probably glamorous back then. It's when we look at them now,
Yeah,
they don't.
probably
It's
was.
just like a bit
Yeah. And you see a lad
crap.
getting an autograph here, and he's just staring at the camera saying, "What the heck are you doing? Taking a photo of me like this?"
Yeah.
But he's getting an autograph from a couple of Ipswich Town players, and they're saying here um, that Bobby Robson is strongly tipped to take over from Ron Greenwood after the World Cup.
Mm.
Before that, those important matters to be dealt with, like getting the players in the right frame of mind to keep all those hungry wolves away because they're getting ready to play Wolverhampton Wanderers. And we actually see some photos of the game here. So it's a real behind the scenes stuff here from their hotel preparation right to playing the game against Wolves. You see the subs and coaching bench, of course, just the one sub in those days, and which I think he's the guy with the blanket on his legs. Um, and that's it. And we see them that they, excuse me, we see that they eventually won 2-1. So a nice little behind the scenes photo strip here of Wolves against Ipswich.
Yeah, they're always interesting to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little double page color spread of Wales against the USSR
Ah, right, okay.
at the racecourse ground in Wrexham. And we see the old cop of Wrexham here, of course, torn down a few years ago, and they're now rebuilding a stand there. It's taking its time, but the
Yes,
owners
it
are
is.
a new
Yeah.
stand. But that is the famous Wrexham cop, which had a lot of people there. And now, a nice photo of the World Cup winners from 1966. They played a charity match 16 years on, and there was 10 out of the 11 played. Ray Wilson couldn't make it. So a nice little photo there for
Yeah,
those
it's
who
great.
did. A bit of promotion for Roy the Rovers Weekly.
Of
We
course,
see
of
Bob
course.
Latchford, John Watson, Mike Yarwood, Trevor Francis, and Tommy Docherty all reading Roy the Rovers. Before we get to the next strip, Tommy's Troubles. They are fishing and they catch a case which has the mayor's chain of office. Apparently, it was stolen 2 years ago. It must have been thrown in the river. They deliver it to the mayor. We'll have to give you your award, boys, says the mayor. Is there anything you'd like? What about a football match? Oh, come on. Sure, just they play football all the time.
Give us
Think
cash.
about
Just give
something
me
different.
cash.
Give us cash. We can go to Spain and watch the World Cup, which is, I think that's actually what they
Or
did in
build a
the.
new ground.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's not a bad idea. Can we do that? Easily, Mayor. I'm sure we'll draw a crowd. There are plenty of holidaymakers in town. Yeah, because everyone wants to go and see 15-year-olds they don't know. So anyway, we've got Barnes United versus the Town Hall 11. Is that kids or is that adults? But there we go. Saturday afternoon, the game began, and the Town Hall teams all over them. That's because I think they're adults. Um, Tommy Barnes stops a goal off the line. Thanks, Tommy, says the keeper. I'll never stop that one. Half time, it's still 0-0. There's plenty of queue at the hot dog stand, plenty of lemon slices left. But the opposition are actually getting hot dogs. They'll stuff themselves so full they won't be able to move. And Tommy was right. They shouldn't have eaten so much, says Tommy. The old professional in goal, though, he did his stuff. They're cheering on Barnes United against these bunch of adults. Eventually, Tommy scores the winner, and the 15-year-olds have won a game that should never have taken place under health and safety rules. Tommy Barnes lifts the cup, which has just been brought in on a few days' notice, and they go back fishing. Ah, you might have hooked the first FA Cup, says Tommy, as they go fishing again. That was stolen in 1895 and it was never recovered. I reckon they'll let us play England at Wembley if you found that. Wouldn't that be something? As they imagine themselves running out at Wembley.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. That could be in the next summer special, that story itself. Anything can happen, really. Tommy's
Mm,
troubles.
Under
absolutely.
15s match, 80,000 turn up. Billy there with his
Yeah.
boots, gets the second half.
And that was their reward then for finding something that extremely valuable, a cup for playing against a bunch of adults. So anyway, the next page, which has been scanned in, was another thing that tempted me to buy this. I do remember getting this, the World Cup wall chart. I had
Oh, wow.
two World Cup wall charts on my wall then, because I had another one from Eagle Comic, which I
Oh,
believe
did you?
yeah, which was very similar to the one that was actually in the Roy of the Rovers weeklies. I think it was all done by the same people. It just had like a different kind of picture at the top. So there we go. We see the six groups. I won't go through all 24 teams, but it was the first World Cup with 24 teams. So they had to find a way to make 24 into knockouts. So they came up with this idea, which seemed nice at the time, that they would actually do, they would actually split them up. They'd actually put, sorry, let me get my words straight again. Sorry about this, listeners and viewers. 24 that became 12. So you had the groups of four, as we always do, the three games. The top two, when that then got split up into four groups of three. And after that, the top team in each group went through to the
So
semi-finals.
complicated. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
I believe that England only conceded one or two goals in the tournament. They didn't lose a game, but they still went out because they drew two games in the second group stage.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're undefeated.
yeah, that's right. But
Mm.
we did have that classic round two group stage match between Italy and Brazil, where Paolo Rossi got a hat trick.
Oh, yeah. One of the best games of all
It
time.
was, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that I believe is that.
Well,
So there we go. That is the 1982 holiday special.
brilliant.
Wow. That was superb. It's great to kind of see that again. And also, yeah, knowing that it was the very first one you had. Um, I mean, summer specials are great. I mean,
They were.
as
They are.
bygone those, it's they're always a treat to kind of see those, especially I think in a kind of World Cup year as well.
Yeah, that's right. And I undoubtedly would have bought that in the town of Cowbridge in one of the two news agents there. That's about 12 miles from Cardiff, where I was brought up. And I would have asked for the 1983 Roy the Rovers annual for Christmas. So I bought every annual I had for Christmas or bought from 1983 after onwards after that. And since then
That's where it all began. That's
it
where it all
is
began.
it is, and I got the rest of the annuals a bit later on in years from pre 1983.
And to think 44 years later, you're about to bring out your book.
I
Yeah.
am,
So,
yeah.
it's impressive stuff.
Oh,
Right.
loving it.
That was great. Excellent. Bygone. Any thoughts on seeing that?
No, Ryder Rovers holiday specials in general give me a tickle tum.
It's a good film. It's a good film. Of course, of course.
I
No, it
know.
does. Like you used to see them arriving, didn't you, in the news agency, but coming out April,
Mm.
May, and I think
Yeah, that's right.
my mum used to get them and put them away for us for holidays.
Oh,
So
that's
we
nice.
had them on holidays in August. So they
Yeah,
just remind me of them times when I see
yeah.
them.
Yeah, that's right. I probably took the odd few holiday specials away. Back to the last pod, as I say, I bought either issue one or issue two of Football Picture Story Monthly at a newsagent's on the way out to Scotland for our summer holiday.
Yeah,
So I do remember that. It might have been both that I bought at the time.
yeah.
So yeah,
Great,
things that you can't pick up for that.
great memories. Right. Okay. Excellent stuff. Well, thank you very much. Now let's move on to the last section of the show. Um, and this is, as I was saying earlier, this is a bit of an unusual one because we're going back, we're looking at a DC Thompson comic, The Hotspur, not a comic which we've featured before, I don't think. We've mentioned it, obviously. Um, Hotspur ran, first of all, as a story paper, 1933 to 1959. But as obviously the picture stories papers came in post Eagle being launched in 50, and so you had Lion and then Tiger, as we know. But it turned into a picture story paper in 1959, and then it carried on to 1981 when it merged into Victor, as many of the DC Thompson comics eventually did. But this particular story, why are we talking about this story? Well, as you see there, this is on the 14th of May, 1966. What happened in 1966? Well, there was a World Cup in England. And what DC Thompson clearly did was they very cleverly put in a story around the World Cup in the time of the actual World Cup. I mean,
Mhm.
as we know from talking to the editors like Bill Graham, Martin Lindsay, and the difference between DC Thompson and IPC Fleetway was they would almost get the stories ready and they'd know when they're going to be putting them in. So they go out to an author, a writer, say this is the idea, then they'll go to the artist, they do it, get ready, and then they can stick it in and slot it in a timely manner. Whereas IPC Fleetway, we know with Roy the Rovers, it's carried on week in, week out, so it's harder for them to do. So this is based around the 1966 World Cup, and we see on there, it's called What a Referee, and we meet Sid Ross. And it says a great new football story about the man who's always on the spot, the referee. And I say it's unusual because it's actually all about a referee. So
Mhm.
I'll I'll flick through it and because it went on for a number of weeks, as you can tell, it went on from 14th of May until the 30th of July 1966, when the World Cup final actually happened. So
I like the artist a lot.
yeah, I don't know if any of the
They're
viewers,
similar to the ones that are in the Tiger monthlies, the Tiger Sports libraries.
yeah, it could it could well be, yeah. Who knows?
Great artwork.
So we've got a referee walking out on the pitch. Sid Ross is in glasses, and it says here, Sid Ross was one of the keenest referees in football. He was a walk-in FA rule book. He never left anything to chance. In the Midland League, where he did his refereeing, fans and players were often pretty tough. One Saturday at Cavalry Park, the Birmingham town ground, and so we see him walking out on the pitch. He's got a massive great rule, like a measurer, and he's striding out onto the pitch, and he goes up to the goal and he's talking to the club manager and he goes, as club manager, you're responsible for the goalpost being in order, Mr. Gregg. This crossbar is sagging, so it is only 7 feet 9 high, 3 inches below the regulation height. Now let's inspect the other one. And the club manager's going, but we can't do anything now. So he goes down the other end of the pitch and he goes, this water runnel has worn away the soil and the goal is 3 inches too high at this end. Sorry, but the game's off. So he's called the game off. And the club manager goes, what? And the crowd hear about this, you'll never leave the ground alive. Ah, but Sid, he cancels the game and he disguises himself as a blind man. You see him there; he's got a white stick and he's got sunglasses, and he's escaping out of a window. And he's going, "The fans are always telling me to get a white stick anyway. Right now, it should be handy." And you can see him; he sneaks out of the ground, and the poor club manager's there saying, "I tell you, the ref's gone. No, you lot, no, you lot hanging around out here." Well, the fans are in uproar because he's just cancelled the game because the net the net is sagging. So anyway, at the same time, we move to the next frame, and you see there's a couple of gents watching another game. This is at Birmingham United, which is a first division side, and the two gents are saying the referee has lost control. They'll have to abandon the match, Seeley. It looks like it, Sir James. Referee Wells panicked completely. And you can see on the pitch, there's all fans on the pitch and policemen. So total disorder. And then we're introduced to the two gentlemen. You've got Sir James Trubshaw, who's the president of the British Football Association, and Arthur Seeley, who's the chief coach. And they've gone to the match specifically to watch the referee. And Seeley says, "Wales won't do for the World Cup games, Sir James. No, Seeley. And we're in trouble. There's a serious shortage of top-class referees. Let's get back to London." So now we're at Birmingham Central train station. You can see Sid Ross is there. He's waiting for the train. And also Sir James is there with Seeley. Also, there's a couple of fans from the Birmingham Town match. And they spotted the referee and they go, "There's the ref who wouldn't let Town play this afternoon. Let's do him up." You know, 1966 speak. And we move there.
Right.
Yeah. And they go to attack him, but Sid is very aware of this, and he manages to apprehend them and chops them, and he looks after himself basically. He goes, "So you two thought the match should have gone on? Sorry, I've no time to explain why it couldn't. My train's about to leave." Of course, at the same time, Arthur Seeley's seen this, and they're like, "Oh gosh, what's going on here?" Anyway, they all get on the same train. So you've got Sir James and Arthur Seeley and Sid, and they're sitting down. Very nice, looks like first class. They've got cups of teas and saucers. And Seeley says, "I thought I recognised you. You're Sid Ross, one of the lower grade referees. I didn't know you wore glasses. They're only a disguise. I thought I might run into trouble after cancelling the Town's match today. Tell me, why did you cancel that match?" "I was sorry to cancel the game, but the crossbars were not the correct height, and you have to stick to the rules." "Mr. Ross, how would you like to referee Monday's cup replay between St George's and Douglas Hibbs?" So immediately they've kind of upgraded him to one of the cup games. So they arrive at Euston, and you've got the sign there, Euston in London. And so it says, "You're sure, Sir James, you want me to referee the big game?" "I'm sure, Mr. Ross. I have a feeling you're just the man we're looking for." So anyway, we move on a few panels, and you've got Sid. He's at the St George's ground, and he's inspecting the pitch beforehand, and the manager's there. He says, "Make your inspection of the ground, Mr. Ross. It's only a formality, of course, but not for Sid Ross." He goes, "Your lines are an inch too wide, Mr. Torrey. The rules say not more than 5 inches. These are 6. Reline the pitch or the game's off." Why you? But Sid has his way, and that evening there was unusual interest amongst the pressmen. "That's Sid Ross, the man who made terrible Tory change his sidelines. I wonder how he handled the players. Tom Houston could give him a bit of trouble." So clearly, Tom Houston's one of the players, and could be potentially a bit of trouble to Sid. Sid sees Tom Houston running out, and he's a big guy. He goes, "Oh, so that's Tom Houston. I wonder if he's as bad as they say he is." And Tom, before the game even starts, he's shaking his fist at the Hibs players. And immediately, Sid books him. He goes, "Name, please. I'm booking you for ungentlemanly conduct." And Arthur Seeley's watching this with Sir James. He goes, "For Pete's sake, he's booking big Tom Houston before the game has even started." So the game carries on, and Sid pulls up a foul to St George's. So keep your hands off the opponent's jersey. And they're going, "Cool, lummy. I didn't think he'd see that close to the play. He's clearly got an eye for detail." And the game continues, and suddenly Tom Houston goes in for a challenge with one of the defenders, and the defender ends up on the deck. And Tom Houston's a bit worried. He goes, "Oh, I'll be sent off for this for sure. This ref has it in for me. He's even booked me before the game began." And so Sid calls on a stretcher because this player's injured on the ground. He says, "He's twisted his leg. Hurry up with that stretcher." But while the guy's on the stretcher, he says, "John Harden, isn't it? You deliberately fouled your opponent and you got the worst of it. You're being carried off, but you're also being sent off by me." So he sent off the injured player on a stretcher. And our proceedings, Sir James are watching this and they're going, "Oh, look, he's taking the name of the player who got injured." Anyway, so he awards a penalty to St George's, and Tom Houston scores the goal. And Tom Houston at the end of so the crowd are all booing, the Hibs crowd, and they're booing. But Tom Houston's really impressed, and he goes, "You played a great game, ref. Come on, I'll see you get to your room safely." He goes, "Thanks, Houston, but I can take care of myself." And so anyway, later on, he's explaining his decisions, saying that Harden had deliberately kicked over the ball, tried to foul Houston. He was unlucky and he injured himself. And Sir James sits there, he sits back, he's like, "Mr. Ross, you have keen eyes, no fear, and the ability to think quickly. From now on, you're a top grade referee." So he's clearly impressed them. So moving on, and I won't go through every single week, but he gradually works his way up through the refereeing ladder. So James gives him more senior games to cover, and he continues to ref to the letter of the law, making decisions. They're all correct, but typically the fans don't realise, and so he always has to leave the ground in disguise. So you see on there, he's dressed up as an old man, top left-hand order. Then he dresses up as a policeman coming off the pitch in the second one, and then the last one, he's actually a member of the band. So he's dressed up as a drummer in a brass band as he's walking out.
And looking a
Um,
lot like Ninian Park as well, that.
oh yeah, Cardiff. It's got Cardiff, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Because it's so it's an international match. He actually, sorry, I didn't include it because it's quite a long story, but he actually
Yeah.
referees a Wales match.
Wales match, and they
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
made it look. I can actually see how good that looks in regards to how Ninian Park looked at the time. That is an amazing likeness on the artwork. For those who are seeing it on YouTube, I can see the Bob Bank. There's the open terrace on the right, and there's the grandstands on the left. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Good attention to detail. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we move on, and he gets chosen to referee in the World Cup. And this is where it gets really kind of interesting, and they really kind of match up with the World Cup, which was going on at the time. He actually referees a France versus Mexico match, and France and Mexico were in the same group in the World Cup. Um, but this game, I'm sure, played out slightly different to that one, because you see on here, there's a Mexican keeper. You can see there's a kind of so stereotypes, if you know, with the countries. You've got the Mexican team come on like a mariachi band, and they've got maracas wearing sombreros. I'm sure they all did this back in 1966.
Not typecast, is it?
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Um, anyway, he pulls up the Mexican goalkeeper who's called Balboa. I don't think it's Rocky. I don't know if it's Rocky's his first name, but he's now Balboa because he's wearing the same shirt as the outfield players.
Yeah.
And even though Balboa, who's still playing the maracas whilst talking to the referee with a sombrero on, goes, "No, speak the English, senor. Ole, ole." Apologies to our Mexican fans. Um, but Sid Ross, he spoke five languages, and he told Balboa again in Spanish, "Si, I changed, senor. It makes no difference, yes?" So the game continues, and he's a bit of a showman, this goalkeeper. Um, what he ends up doing is that he ends up there's a bit of a melee, and I'll show the picture in a minute. He sticks a ball up one of the Mexican players' shirts, and then the player runs to the other end of the pitch, drops the ball over the line to score a goal. But Sid Ross, I know, Sid Ross spots it. So here we go here. So you can see it here on this panel, about the sixth panel in. He drops the ball over the line, but Sid spots it already, and he disallows the goal. Then there's a penalty, and also on page 4 there on the second page, you can see that Rocky Balboa, I'm going to call him Rocky from now on, he moves, and so he distracts,
yeah.
and so Sid gets him to retake the penalty. And again, he starts clowning around. He's waving his hands in the air, and he gets him to retake it again. So eventually, another player steps up, and they score a goal. So
He's a good
France,
goalkeeper in Escape to Victory, though, this Mexican.
it was, well, this is it. Yeah, only 15 years later,
Mm.
he did a good job there, didn't he? And he's a good boxer apparently as well, wasn't he? I think kind of.
Took a dive.
Yeah. So France end up. They win 2-0, and yeah, so Sid Ross has refereed his first game in the World Cup, and so we move on to the next game. He gets appointed to referee a Hungary versus Portugal game. And this was actually a real game as well. They were both in the same groups, and they actually played on the 13th of July, which is the same date as this comic. And yeah, in
Oh,
the
wow.
real life, it was 3-1 to Portugal. But anyway, what we see here on the screen, we've got Hungary versus Portugal. Sid's he's in the cafe, and he's having a cup of tea, and it says the game's actually at Traffham Park, where the game was actually
Yeah.
played at Old Trafford. So it was quite
Yeah.
similar in what they did there.
World Cup Section C. We've gone on this before, haven't we? I'm sure
Yeah,
the
sections.
last on the last pods they were talking about sections, weren't they? I
Yeah,
quite
funny,
agree
isn't it?
with
So
that.
maybe that was the thing. In this particular week, though, he gets kidnapped before the game.
Of
So you
course.
see, of well, obviously, you see him there. He got kidnapped by a Hungarian, and he's on a barge. Um, he manages to escape. We'll go on to the next page. You see he escapes, but the Hungarian trainer during the match tries to stab him, and then we find out that the trainer was actually a dispirited player from the 1938 World Cup final. So he played in the World Cup final. And we saw a picture of the
Yeah.
Hungary when we did the 1982 special when they
Yeah.
lost to Italy. So yeah, so we see here are the pictures. So you can see him, he manages to escape from the barge. He jumps in to the water. Incredibly, 5 minutes later, he manages to untie his hands and feet, Harry Houdini style. He sees some boys fishing on the side. I don't know if there's Tommy Barnes was there still, but anyway, he sees some boys fishing at the side. He says, "Hey lads, get me out of here, and I'll see you right for World Cup tickets." So I'm not impressed by this because he's a stickler for rules, but instantly he's touting World Cup tickets. So I'm questioning his integrity. But they get him out. He goes to the match, and I think it's on the second page. Yeah, the second page. If you see, there's a foul on the second page, and a stretcher bearer has come out, and Sid goes, "Get the Hungarian trainer. This lad will have to go off and get his shoulder strapped up." And then there's a guy in a beret. Usually guys in berets are usually baddies, aren't they?
Or
And he,
French.
or well, probably or both.
Yeah.
Um, he recognizes him. Hey, it's Scarface, not Al Pacino. We're not kind of. It's not Sylvester Stallone and Al Pacino. It's not that famous. Um, but he's got a knife. He goes, the trainer's going to knife the ref. This is somebody in St. John's ambulance that spotted this. Sid Ross says, I can't stop to argue with you. So, and he throws him over his shoulder, this Hungarian trainer. And he goes, there goes his shoulder now. I fixed a dislocated one for the Hungarian, and then I give a dislocation to another. Some game this. And the trainer's taken away on another stretcher. They've got quite a few stretchers on this game. And he goes, there isn't long to go now, lads. Calm down and try to play football for the rest of the time. Never mind that someone's just tried to stab him just after being kidnapped the day before. Um, Portugal eventually win 1-0, and the players applaud the referee off. And then you see the Hungarian trainer's been taken away by the police. And Sir James is there and he goes, his name is Polzar, Mr. Ross. And Sid goes, of course, I thought I recognised him. He played for Hungary in the final in 1938, was wounded in the war, and he saw Hungary lose in 1954. He's football crazy. So, poor Hungarians.
Glad he
Right,
knows his stuff.
he
What a
knows his stuff.
referee.
Right, now we're on to the quarter-final, and I might whiz through this slightly quicker, but this is interesting when they move away from um, real countries and start to bring in fake countries. So we've got a game here between Amazonia and Zantali.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this one, again, it's quite eventful. You notice the stories are getting more and more eventful. Um, he disguises himself as an ice cream seller because he's worried about some Xantalians or Xantalians attacking him.
They love their ice cream in Santali. Amazonians, though, it just disappears.
Yeah, that's it. Um, so in this one, his ice cream van is blown up. A grenade gets thrown at him in the ground, and the goal is stopped when the ball is punctured by a pitch invader with a knife. So he doesn't give a goal because the rules are if you stop the ball with a knife, then it's not a goal apparently. That's
I didn't know
and
that.
and it ends up. Sir James is
No,
still quite impressed with the way he referees games.
I actually think that is the case. If any object stops the ball, it just stops the ball, if you see what I mean. So if like a dog runs on and stops the ball, it's no goal.
Yeah, it's like an alien object, I suppose, isn't it? I
Yeah, that's
suppose
right.
that's what I say.
Yeah.
So on these pages, you can see his ice cream van getting blown up, kind of middle of page one. In this second page, you can see an Amazonian supporter who's angry because he's been disallowing things for Amazonia, throws something onto the pitch, and Sir James goes, Ross has gone mad. He's made a rugger tackle on the Xantalian keeper. Get back! Don't kick that onion because they think it's an onion. It's not an onion. It's a grenade. Um, and then towards the end of this story, you see an Amazonia player, he shoots, and then a spectator runs onto the pitch with a knife, and then he bursts the ball. And Sid recognizes him as one of the Xantalian toughs. He goes, he's left me with a nasty decision to make this time. He's not worried the fact that someone's run onto a pitch with a knife. He's worried about the football decision he needs to make. And he goes, sorry, it's a bounce up. I can't award a goal unless the ball has crossed the line. You can't argue with Sid, can you really?
No.
And that's it. That's the end of the game. So we now move on to semi-final. It's the 23rd of July, 1966. So he's now been appointed ref for a semi-final between Rurica and Janeria. So I think Janeria are like Brazil.
Russia.
You'll see this coming here.
Okay.
He walks onto the pitch. So he's a referee in the World Cup semi-final. And he's being booed as he walks onto the pitch. And even the Janeria fans are going, you helped Janeria. And there must be Rurica fans. That's it. You helped Janeria and we will kill you, referee. They're not mucking around and saying, we're going to kill you. It reminds me of a Millwall match, really, to be fair. And anyway, the game starts. The Rurica players were ruthless and they're fouling already. And caramba, this is Janira. We should get a foul, referee. Open your eyes. I played the advantage rule. The ball broke to you. You could have scored. In the future, play until you hear the whistle. So already, he's causing controversy. Just before half time, Janira, they're going to the lead. And then Eureka equalise halfway through the second half. Then he pulls up a player for putting their shirt. And then seconds later, he's at the other end. And he goes, free kick to Eureka. But the Janerians forgot about the advantage rule. Will they take their centre stop or will they go on now? But no, yeah, the Janerians, they remembered about playing on because he hadn't blown his whistle. And Janeria score. Rurica keeper was injured and trying to attempt to save. He bangs his head against the post. And the keeper's carried off. And the Rurica players, they line up in a strange formation. And Sid speaks to the captain. He goes, but we must attack. All out, referee. We can line up as we please. He goes, sorry, mate, you had to have a keeper. That's the rule. But anyway, Janeria win decisively 4-1. So the cup holders, that's why I think it must have been Brazil or, and they said Caramba because obviously Brazil world champions in. And so they're once again in the final. And then we see the second to last frame. We see that the following evening at Wembley, England beat Xantali 2-0. And you've got Sir James there. He's at the game with Sid. And he goes, you've done a wonderful job, Sid. But with England playing Janeria in the final, you won't be able to take that game. There has to be a neutral referee. So Herr Schroeder, here of West Germany, will be in charge, but you'll be a linesman. Fine, Sir James. One way or another, I'll be in at the death. I hope you have a good game, Herr Schroeder. So he's going to be linesman in the final. So, and it says there, don't miss the all-action, full-packed World Cup final next week. And this is on the 23rd of July, 1966, when there is a World Cup final next week. And England are in it. It's brilliant, isn't it? Right. Okay. So the comic was dated the 30th of July, 1966. So, children would have been picking up this comic the week before the World Cup final, and they're seeing Sid Ross is about to referee. Well, he's the referee in the final. He's a linesman in the final. What they actually do is that because you think it's still a bit dodgy, you've got an English linesman, but the other linesman is Janerian, so they kind of even it up.
It's almost like park football, isn't it? You have to get one of
the
referee gets appointed, so you have to have one of your boys on each line, and all he has to do is raise the flag when it goes into touch.
Absolutely. So the final begins, and you see Sid. He's running down the line. England are attacking from the kickoff, and he calls offside. But the England players are going, ref, I was behind the ball when it was crossed. No, he wasn't. He was level with the winger, and the centre was level with us. He was offside, all right. He must be behind the player with the ball. And that reminds me, I think offside was different, wasn't it? I think you had to be behind
Yeah.
the ball. It must have
No.
been in the 60s.
Yeah.
Anyway, some minutes later, the defender and the attacker for England and Janira, they kick the ball at the same time. It's on Sid's side of the pitch. And the referee runs over and says, "What happened, Mr. Ross?" And he goes, "They both kicked it off at the same time, Schroeder, but it's no one's throw-in. It'll be a bounce up where it crosses the line." So Sid, even though he's the linesman, he's very involved in some of the decisions. Then there's a foul just outside the box. Schroeder, the referee, goes penalty, but Sid comes on. He's almost taking over really, and says, "Actually, no. Pay attention to my flag. It was actually here. The foul took place just outside the area." And you've got an England player there going, "Some help he is to us," because he's not helping England at all. Um, anyway, 5 minutes later, the referee actually gets knocked out, and he's Sparko on the ground. And you see this is there. He's out cold. He'll have to go off. So we need a referee. And so he talks to Sir James, and he says, "We need another referee, quick." Then somebody from the Juniorian Football Association comes on and goes, "Senor Ross, on behalf of the Juniorian Football Association, may I ask that you take over the rest of the game?" But Sid's not doing this. He said, "I would not referee this, not for anything, senor." He's a man of principle. Obviously he'll sell World Cup final tickets to a load of kids angling on the side of a river, but he's got a man of principle when it comes to refereeing a match. So he agrees. Another referee is brought off on from the stand to act as linesman. So he bounces up. The game continues. The ball is thrown from a throw on straight into the net. But he gives a corner. He says and it says that's the right decision, mate. You can't score a goal direct from a throw in. So the right decisions are being made by Sid. And then there's a goal, and England go, "Yeah, we won up," but Sid disallows it again. So he's constantly giving decisions against England. He says, "No, you're not, mate. That was a foul." But 5 minutes later, there's no doubt about it. England score a goal. Number 10. Number 10, that was Jeff Hurst, wasn't he? Number 10.
Yeah.
It's a bit uncanny. And then, with 5 minutes to go, Janeria equalised. But with 2 minutes from time, England score again. And it's there. England have won the World Cup. And you see, they go up. Doesn't look like the World Cup. It looks more like the FA Cup. But you see Sid there. He's watching
Does, yeah.
them going up and they're collecting it. And Sid's going, "That second half was one of the best games I've ever controlled." And Sir James is there and he shakes Sid's hand. He goes, "A masterpiece of refereeing, Ross. You had the players completely under your control." And as he walks out outside of Wembley Stadium. You can't see the Twin Towers.
Looks
The
a bit
whole
rubbish, that stadium, doesn't it?
It
Looks
does.
like
It
it's
doesn't
just
look
got
any. I mean,
one
you say
stand.
Cardiff was quite, real, but this
Yeah.
doesn't look very good at all. Um, so England have just won the World Cup, but you've got the crowd there and they're cheering the referee. And he goes, "Three cheers for the referee." And Sid goes, "Ho ho, this is one time when everybody likes the referee." So that's it. England are world champions. Sid Ross has been linesman in the World Cup final.
Brilliant.
That's it. What do you think? And that was all tied around the 1966 World Cup.
Yeah.
I like
That's
Very
that.
clever, wasn't it?
nice bit of fun, wasn't it, for the weeks going to the World Cup? Something different because you don't always see a referee, or hardly ever see a referee being featured as the main person in the strip. And I think 1966, England had to be one of the two or three favourites to win the World Cup anyway, so they weren't going to be far off. They had a good record and were at home.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, you can see it, I suppose you could say it's a bit of a risk, really,
yeah,
but you're right. They're at home. They're a good team.
yeah,
And also it's a comic, so people weren't going to pull them up on it, I suppose,
no,
really.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I came across this story a few months ago when I was just registering or logging all the football stories in
Uh-huh.
Hotspur, and I saw it. I thought, oh wow, this is
Mm.
brilliant stuff.
One
So
one
yeah,
of only one of only four referees who were at the World Cup. That because he refereed some games, didn't he?
yeah, he's a busy man, wasn't he?
You usually
Yeah,
get two or three, don't you? But yeah, No, I'd
Yeah.
like it. Like you just said then, Ian, for a ref. If you think there's a lot of potential, isn't there, for a referee story to have featured, you could have
Mm.
had a referee and he sees like corrupt linesmen and corrupt players and bribes and things. There's probably a good chance, there's good ammunition for a story, but obviously they must never have been interested in going for a referee
No,
story.
I think it would have been similar in style, maybe to John Stark, in
Yeah.
regards that you see different teams each week, and you see how he got on there. There might have been some bribery, as you say. Yeah, there's a few stories that,
I mean, we had
to
a
be honest, they
story
covered a
about
lot of them there, didn't they, with the kidnapping and all that kind of thing.
well, they had a story about football, so I'm sure they could have stretched it
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true actually. Yeah, if you can do one about football, we can't even speak, let
out.
alone have any emotions. Um, okay, yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that one, lads. Yeah, I think the next show I've got another one from 1966 as well. Gorgeous Gus. Try and do Gorgeous
Oh
Gus
yeah.
as well,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
which going to tie into the World Cup. So that's it. That's the end of the sections. So very good show. I very much enjoyed that. So what I'm going to do is just get your final thoughts. Um, and then we can say our goodbyes. So let's go to the Time Traveller, taking us back to the 1982 Royal Rovers Summer Special. Final thoughts, Ian?
Oh, again, thanks very much for having me on, as per always. I know I'm a regular fixture now, but I'm always grateful. But yeah, it's been very enjoyable and good listening to both of your strips as well, because I don't think I'd heard any either of those. Obviously, I knew Jimmy Grant very well. Not didn't know him personally, but I know I know the character very well, but I hadn't had that annual. So yeah, that and again a new character for me as well from you, Mute. So thanks very much.
Great stuff. And by God, can you do a Uruguayan accent? Can you give us your final thoughts in the Uruguayan
In
accent?
my Uruguayan accent. I can't remember if it's Italian or a bit of German. Very good, very good. I'm gonna go do some sunbathing now.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if that tide's coming in or not, but it's been coming in for 2 hours and it
Your
hasn't
feet are
actually
wet.
come in. Yeah, your feet are wet.
No, it's a great. I'm enjoying the World Cup actually. I think I'm one of the only people who are actually enjoying this World Cup. But yeah, and I'm enjoying these flavored shows being World Cup as well. I hope the listeners are. It's good.
Yes, it's
I
it's
enjoy
fun
the
to
holiday
it's fun.
special, obviously. I love
Yeah.
we've already said what I've said about holiday specials and your story about the referee. I never heard of that story before. And it's fantastic that you think you've read everything or heard of everything and then it's fresh stuff coming out again.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of stories. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
What
no,
about
it's great.
what
Yeah.
about yourself, Matt? Have you enjoyed tonight's episode?
Yeah, no, it's excellent. It's lovely seeing that 1982 special again, and I have got that 1990 Victor Annual, but I haven't managed to go through it yet. So yeah, so you saved me reading it. I love
Ah,
it. You know what? I enjoy it more when I hear it on the show and I hear other people telling the story, if that makes sense. I find that with the Football Picture Story monthlies and
well, if you
We Are
want,
United.
if you ever can't get to sleep, just give me a ring and I can read a couple of the stories to
I'm now
you.
slightly frightened. Um, I'm, I'm glad this is going out. Glad I'm going to keep this in just in case if the police need to use this as evidence, then it's there for all posterity. Anyway, that's that's been a great show. Listeners, followers, viewers, I hope you've enjoyed that second World Cup special. We're going to have another one as well in a couple of weeks' time, when hopefully Tangent will be back for that if we can find him wherever he's gone, kidnapped by Infantino.
In the
Um, and maybe England might still be in the World Cup. Don't know. Who knows about that? But anyway, till then, bye for now.
Take care, everyone.